Now, in what's brewing, Foodtech startup Poshn has announced that it raised $4 million in equity and $2 million in debt, which takes the total to $6 million in a pre-Series A funding round. Now, this takes the total funds raised to date by the company in equity to more than $8 million. It plans to use these fresh funds to expand its business to Southeast Asian and Middle Eastern markets, and it also aims to build an innovative stack of solutions which will help it address gaps in the system. Joining me now to discuss these plans and more is the co-founder of the company, Shashank Singh. Shashank, welcome to Startup Street. Thanks very much for your time here. Start by telling us about this funding, why this mix of debt and equity, the $6 million that you raised. Give us some details on that.
Yeah, so I'll start off with what Poshn is exactly trying to build. And India and Southeast Asia has been the food basket to the world. With this startup, we are trying to enable the MSMEs in the segment who are the food processors of commodities like flour, rice, edible oils. And we are trying to bring them at par with any large FMCG company and look to be the suppliers to the world. So that's the background on the company that we have built out. As rightly mentioned, we have raised $8 million in equity till date and close to $2 million in debt in this round, couple of million in debt prior to this as well. We are looking to solve for all the issues that are plagued in the supply chain, right from bringing in distribution for these MSMEs. They have typically lacked for that, bringing in capacity utilization for these MSMEs because they do not have the view into how much they can sell on the year throughout, and then working capital solutions as well. So that's the background into it. That's what we are trying to build out. We are trying to build out based out of India. So tech solutions can't be borrowed from the Western economies. So that requires a lot of effort on our part to understand the problem statement. And hence, large part of this funding is going to develop that tech and adding in the new additions to the team.
But Shashank, tell us more specifically what you plan to do in terms of deployment of the funds. Some of it, of course, is for what you outlined, and some of it is to enter the import-export opportunity you're eyeing.
Right. So as I was mentioning in the beginning, now Southeast Asia and specifically India has been the food basket to the world. There is a lot of exports in agro-commodities that happen from India. And that requires specific set of solutions to be built in. We are looking to go very aggressively on the import and export market. That would mean that we need to build in those capacities ourselves from a tech stack perspective. So a lot of guys we are adding to build that tech stack specifically for import and exports. And other than that, we will require specific talent also to come in, which will help us expand that footprint. To begin with, for this particular financial year, we will be targeting 6 to 7% of the revenues coming from import and export, and we'll be building capacities for the same.
So 6 to 7% to begin with this year itself, and over a period of time, how important a part of your overall business is export-import going to be, and how much of your sales and revenue is it going to continue to generate, say, over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so 10 years is a very long period of time in a startup's journey. So let me take a lens of say 3 to 5 years, and we are looking to expand 30 to 40% of our revenues coming from export markets. We'll also be focusing on the geographical expansion. So as I mentioned, to begin with, we are looking at Middle Eastern as a market, specific sets of Europe. But as we grow, we'll be looking at the greater parts of Europe and Americas as well.
Well, thanks for giving us that 3 to 5 year picture. Of course, we're assuming you have a longer term vision, which I'll just get to in a bit. But, you mentioned the revenue, and I was reading you said that the revenues for the company have risen sixfold from FY22 to FY24, and that you are EBITDA profitable. Could you give us specifics on whether revenue can continue to grow at this kind of a pace going ahead, say in your 3 to 5 year horizon, and how soon do you expect to be fully profitable, not just on an operational basis?
Thanks for that question. And we as an organization have had a fundamental belief that in B2B segment, there can't be any growth without profitability, because the moment you are growing without profitability and at some point of time you are looking to switch back to profitability, that growth becomes redundant. So from day zero, we have very critically focused on growing along with profitability. We have grown 6x in last 3 years. We are looking to maintain that trajectory because there is no dearth of market for the same. It's a $800 billion market that we are looking at. So at least for next 3 to 5 years, we expect to maintain the same growth trajectory. On the questions of profitability, we have kept an internal target to be PAT profitable this particular year itself. So in FY25, we will be PAT positive.
All right, so you will be profitable in this current financial year. A quick word, Shashank. You've cemented your position in the B2B wholesale segment. That's what you've been doing. But going forward, are you looking at more diversified revenue streams? Of course, apart from this import-export business that you want to enter into that you've already highlighted.
So the idea for Poshn for being was to enable the food processing MSMEs, not just in India, but across Asia, and try to bring them at par with the global FMCG giants or food processing giants. So that will be the vision statement that we have set out for ourselves, and that would lead to our expansion, not just into the B2B space or the processing that space we are talking about. We will be integrating both forward and backward into the value chain. That means we will be moving on towards the retail side as well. So a lot of efforts are going on to be moving on to the retail side, as well backward integration as to how we can enhance the utilizations and capacities of certain food items that we are talking about. So over the next couple of years, we will see our footprint expanding across the value chain and not just into the wholesale B2B segment that we have been focusing on.
I was wondering, since, if you were to complete the bouquet of offerings, is there something along the lines of financing solutions that Poshn would be looking at in future?
So if you look at the segment, there are dominantly 3 to 4 legs that we look to bring in. So distribution has been one of the keys. Working capital has been the second leg. And then there are SaaS solutions we are bringing in, which come from digitizing the entire ecosystem. So already in some form, we have been bringing in the financing solutions for our suppliers. As we are moving forward, as you would see, ICICI Bank has also come in board with us as a working capital provider to us. So as we are moving forward, we'll be partnering with more ecosystem players, right from banks and NBFCs, to ensure SME inclusion, financial inclusion that can happen.
All right, Shashank, thank you very much for patiently answering all of those questions. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. See you. Same here.